I'm gonna
Yep.
do all the other 4 guys.
Nice.
Same questions. I think I'm gonna do Jake tomorrow night. And then I don't know if you ever met Bobby Tran Jr.
Yep. Yeah, I was actually sitting right next to him on the second day. We were,
Nice.
yeah, he was launching from the same spot, sitting in the massive kayaks, or waiting to launch all at the same time. It was kind of crazy.
I saw a couple photos. I mean, it does look pretty insane.
Yeah, it was. It was. I mean, everybody's sitting there at the launch, ready to go. You got 25 boats kind of in a line. Everybody's ready to take off. It was nuts. And then we all take off doing 4 miles an hour. It's not like anybody gets away from each other for a while.
Which, spot did you launch from?
So the first day I launched out of Southport on Toho, which is on the very southern end, and then day two I ended up launching out of Big Toho Marine on the north side. So, which was a mistake because I couldn't find any fish on day two.
Were you around other people?
Yeah, there was a ton of people. I traveled around a little bit. Kind of went to the center of the lake, um, just to see what was down there, and it was brush pile after brush pile with nothing but crappie sitting on them. So it was unfortunate, but it was still a lot of fun.
Yeah, so, being local, like, what makes you decide to take that trip and head down south?
So one, it was way too cold up here. So it's and then it ended up being way too cold in Florida too. But I wanted to do these for the last couple of years, and just to kind of see, whether I could stack up against the national side of it, but just to do something different, just to kind of try it out, see if it's was for me. And it was a huge learning experience overall. I mean, it was definitely it's not like fishing the lakes around here. One of the first days of pre-fishing, I was out on North Kissimmee, and you could probably take 5 of the biggest lakes in Massachusetts and just put it in the North Cove for where I was. It was like, 4-mile run or 5-mile run to where I wanted to get to, fishing all the way there, but it was just went on forever. It was crazy.
Yeah, motors are definitely a necessity when you fish in these
Yeah.
national events.
Oh, definitely. It was intense. Just the size of the body of water, not knowing where you're going or anything like that. You think you're going the right way, and then you're actually going the wrong way on the lake. So it was cool though.
How many days did you get to pre-fish?
So I got there Monday. I pre-fished full almost 5 days overall. So
And how did you do in pre-fishing?
did as well as I did in the tournament. It took me till day 3 to actually hook into a bass. It was tough. And talking to the guys out there, was kind of everybody was kind of feeling the same way, trying to figure it out. I think one of the things that I learned from it, which is doing these again, is to pick a lake and break it, and pick an area of the lake and try to break it down. That's something that, especially with these big bodies of water, especially, when you can't, it's not like in a big boat. Okay, I can run 20 minutes and be from one end of the lake to the other. So that was definitely the learning experience, and I'm trying to figure out, where do I go? Trying to find grass, whatever else. I mean, it was tough to find it. I mean, and that's where they were. So second day, that's kind of what hurt me, is I didn't find grass until the end of the day, and everybody was sitting on it. That's where they were catching fish all day long. So, and it was literally 4 minutes off the launch is where a bunch of people were fishing all day. So
Was that your first official national trail tournament?
yeah, it was. It was the first time I had done any of the national trail stuff. So definitely have the bug for it. I can't wait to do it again.
Next one is what? Is it Toledo Bend?
Next one I think is Caddo in Louisiana is the next one. That's in April. And then I think they've got I forget where the Bassmaster event is, but that's the next one in March. And possibly going to do Lake Marion, and definitely doing the Susky in August is on the list. So
Nice. Are you traveling with anybody, or are you just going down?
if I go to Lake Marion, might be probably going to travel with Todd Brothers and his wife. We're going to hopefully get the family down there and go hang out, gonna drag the trailers down and go camp for a week or so. And then the Susky, if I'm able to make that one, I've got couple guys from Florida that are going to be coming up. We're probably going to do a house or something like that for that one. So this one I went down by myself, met a few new people down there, met a few guys down there, and hung out and pre-fished, and definitely learned a lot while we were there.
Drive down?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Took 2 days there and back. Took my time on the way back home, but it was I don't want to do the GW in the daytime ever again. I can tell you that much. That wasn't fun.
Yeah, I got some crazy life experiences trying to cross the George Washington.
And with the trailer, it was crazy. Like the GPS wanted to take me on like every parkway to get around stuff, and I couldn't go on any of them. So I'm basically just shut it off at one point. I'm like, I'm just going to take 95 all the way down, and we're not even worry about it now.
Probably the best course of action just because it's so congested over there.
Oh, it was crazy. It's like, go this way, go that way. I'm like, no, I'm just going to go straight and
So with
figure
this
it out.
with this being your first event, like talk about the atmosphere. Like how I mean, I know it's a national event and there's a lot more like eyes on it and all this, but how different is it from just doing a local trail?
I think it's the size is probably the biggest piece to it. You know, there's a huge meeting on Friday before the tournament. Everybody had to be there. So just seeing, 240 plus anglers, and there's actually more than that because you had some folks that were fishing the Florida Bass Nation had their opening event as kind of piggybacking this. So you had some people that were fishing that. So they're just the size of the event, the atmosphere of, hey, this is just a little bit bigger than, obviously a lot bigger than everything else. And, having, people with cameras taking pictures, guys walking around asking questions, kind of interviews and stuff like that. And it was a cool atmosphere to see. Seeing the trophies up there when you walk in and, being a part of all that stuff was just was really neat. And then talking about the changes that they're going to do going into this year, you know, when the classic is for the kayaks this year in October, they're going to end up with the Bassmaster stage is going to be there. There's going to be TV. TV is it's going to be televised for a lit. I think some of it's going to be televised anyway, so they're going to have a lot more eyes on it this year. So it was just a cool experience overall. I mean, it's intimidating too. You're walking through, you're seeing guys that that can fish, and you're talking to guys. Some of the guys up here like Derek and Ryan, and seeing Abby Abadanza, who was their AOI guy last year, talking with him. But everybody's just a normal angler like everybody else. It's cool to talk to those guys and see them, and then see how they're doing, and it was a ton of fun.
So what was your game plan going in? And then eventually, or did it change during the pre-fishing, and what ended up working out?
So my big game plan going in was nice weather. It was thinking about, hey, I'm going to Florida. This is supposed to be the spawning season. We're going to be flipping. We're going to be top water. That's what I was kind of geared towards going into it, especially talking to some of the guys, well before the tournament. Hey, what's something good to throw with some of the guys from Florida? And then we got down there. So get down there and the weather is completely different. The day before I get there, it's 22 degrees. Water temps are dropping. Get out in the water the first day and the water's cold. And, being up north, you're thinking 50 degrees. I could throw anything I want. The fish are going to be chewing. And down there, no, they were totally shut off. I didn't catch a fish for the first day and a half. Talking to guys that were in the same area, same exact thing. Nobody was really catching. If they did catch it, it was one here, one there, nothing crazy. So it changed over to just kind of moving baits. Caught a good chunk of fish on lipless while we were out there. I mean, that ended up kind of being the deal for me. That and a chatterbait, but it was kind of slow rolling like early season fishing up north. I mean, they had lockjaw for the most part, and then it was find the grass. Kind of figured that out one day in the rain. They were sitting on the edge of the grass, and you had to find some other grass with it. And once you got into that type of situation, I was able to find some fish, but it was a tough go. But the plan definitely changed from what I was hoping to do down there, and what ended up happening was completely different. So being able to make that change as you're going through was pretty big. So
What was your final ending?
I think I was like 127. I think so. I ended up, which I would have liked to have been in the top 50. That would have been great. But what was kind of cool with it is, I only caught 2 fish on day one. First one was a good one. I had a 20 and a quarter for my first fish in like the first hour. So I was pretty jacked up. After that. I'm like, all right, they're here. This is going to be a good day. And then the bite kind of shut off until the afternoon. And then day 2, I'm like, all right, go find grass. They're going to be out there. And they were, just not where I was. That I just picked the wrong area. I didn't have a plan for the north side of Toho. I didn't pre-fish that side. I just kind of flipped a coin with the amount of guys that were on the southern end when I was there. There was probably 25 to 30 guys at different areas. There was 2 launches relatively close to this one grass line. And I wish I had a picture of it. It was like a conga line of kayaks. And then the bass boats came in from their tournament, and everybody was just kind of going back and forth between everybody all day. It was stick with it and be patient. You could put 5 fish together, but being with 2 fish, there was still a chance to move up pretty easily. I went into day 2 saying, okay, put a limit together. I can probably be in the top 70. That was kind of the goal going in. And then it was just a grind. Well, it was a pickerel rodeo is what it really was by the end of it. So I caught a ton of pickerel down there, and they were choking the lipless down all day. Bass where I did find one decent grass line on day two, and it was just loaded with pickerel at that point. So it was a cool experience. I didn't get to see a gator though, so got to go somewhere else down south to go find one next time.
Well, that's good. At least they didn't chomp on your bait.
No, not at all. We didn't see any of them down there. So
So with the hundreds of kayaks and boats on the water, what do you think the biggest challenge that you had to work through to even catch those fish?
probably, I mean, the biggest challenge was just trying to get through to the spot where I wanted to go. I got pretty lucky. Secondary spot that I had on day one, there really wasn't anybody on it when I got through there, so I was able to catch one off of there. But it was where I caught fish during pre-fishing is where I caught them during day one, and then my challenge was where do I find the next three fish? Because everything was fished out. I didn't have like a third or fourth spot or anything like that going into it. So that was probably the biggest challenge. I mean, all the other anglers that were there, I mean, you were obviously fishing next to someone for most of the day. Everybody was pretty cool about it. We were all kind of in the same area, all doing this, obviously doing a little bit of something different. Some guys were throwing jerk baits, some guys were throwing, soft plastics, which I couldn't get a sniff on a soft plastic the whole time I was there, which would have been nice if I could have, but they just couldn't figure it out. But that was probably the challenge of just not knowing the area, and really, that's something to go into next time is how do you figure out that area and then either stick with it or do something different. And I'd say day two, I probably should have went back to where I was day one. I don't know if I would have done any better, but at least I knew where I wanted to fish and what I wanted to fish on. So that was probably the biggest thing was, don't make that change, end up staying in the same spot you were the day before.
Yeah, so if you can go, that would be your only decision. If you went back, you would just change the location.
Yeah, I would have went back to the same spot as day one. A couple of the other guys that ended up going over there did end up putting up some small limits, and they did okay. And we are all kind of, we're all in the same area, fishing the same way. I was next to a couple local guys and a couple guys from Jacob Stem from, I think he's in Mass now. We were kind of fishing the same area, talking a little bit, and he was able to put the limit together on day two. So I won't say I regret the decision. I mean, it was a fun learning experience. I never expected to be in the top 20. It would have been great, but I was looking for an 8-pounder in Florida. I didn't find one though.
That's always the goal when you go down there. It's like, I want to
Yeah,
catch a GE.
I just want a huge fish. That just one, I would have been happy. I mean, I got a good one, but I could catch that same size fish up here. Maybe not as consistently as down there, but could definitely catch them. So
Yeah, that's awesome, man. We can't wait to hear from you when you travel to your next one when you come back.
yeah, I'm excited for it. Hopefully, can convince a family to go down to South Carolina. It's a little bit shorter trip, but it should be nice down there in May if I'm able to make it. So
Hey, being with Mass BASS, did you connect with any of the guys down there?
yeah, I did. I met the guy who runs the South region for. His name's Jake Abbey. Met him, really cool dude. Talked to him for a little bit as far as how they came about. I mean, they're definitely something to check out. They've got a great social media following. They do a ton of stuff with videos and everything. So their Florida Bass Nation down there does a good job.
What
Of
was the name of it?
It's Florida Bass Nation. I think it might be the South region, but they do some really cool stuff on Facebook and everything to promote Facebook, Instagram to promote everything. So it was cool. Yeah, it was a ton of fun being down there, meeting some new faces, talking to people while you were there. Met Steve Owens, who runs everything, talked to him for a little bit. I mean, he was obviously pretty busy setting everything up and whatever, but it was cool to kind of, introduce myself, talk to him for a little bit and kind of go from there. So,
Hey, that's awesome.
yeah.
Cool, man. I'll let you get back to your sushi. I
All
appreciate
right.
you on.
Sounds good. No problem, Jason.
Yes, sir. Talk soon.
All right. Take care. Bye.